Welcome to Thriving Trust. My name is Corey, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about having the right measures, or at least measuring the right metrics in order to change a sexless marriage. And a lot of people fail to change their sexless marriage because of one critical thing. In fact, when a boat sails off for a big journey, usually you got this captain, and the captain will say we're going at whatever speed at this direction, and we're going to maintain this direction regardless of what the weather hits and what sort of obstacles we face. And even if they sort of go off course, he kind of knows how to get back on track. So what I'm trying to say here is that most people, when they start off, they've got no idea what is their true north or the direction they're actually going. The idea is there's lack of sex. I feel a lull within the relationship, and therefore, if we have more sex, the marriage will go back to where we were. And the critical thing that we do not focus on, or at least miss out on, is that there is this forever evolution as a person. So you as a person, you're consistently evolving. She's consistently evolving. And there's a few things that are important with that, is that when you're just the two of you, you only have to focus on just two of you and the relationship. And then when you moved in together and you started sharing bills, you had to evolve into somebody who can share, who can be considerate, who can be responsible, and so on and so forth. And then when you got married, when kids came along, you're consistently evolving. And what tends to happen is that the priorities within a relationship change. And it's upon both of you to be able to maintain the relationship as the priority, because what tends to happen is that when we start off with this honeymoon period, and it's in many cases it is this massive escape from loneliness, this fear of being alone, this pressure of not being with somebody that we face as people. And when you meet somebody, you've got this euphoric feeling of being in a relationship because all these things that you craved are now being fulfilled. So, and again, this is every time I say this to people, they sort of push back, like, no, I wanted love. I really wanted her. But there are biological and psychological factors that push you towards a relationship. And those can be the things that we tend to hang on as the North Star of the relationship. So let's go back to where we were 20 years ago when we first got married, is sort of the desire that most men would have, and what they think is the North Star. But really, it's not. The only thing that is probably prevalent in that period is the fact that that person was holding you at high priority, which is what we're seeking and she's seeking as well. But has gone through a period of either medicating or masking that she doesn't need it. So again, both of you are doing the same thing. And there's this real biological factor that is important for men in sense of connection, in terms of sex, that becomes the lacking thing and becomes this focus. And we focus on it thinking that that's the most, if I can get a lot more sex, then everything will be okay. And I challenge that most of the time, because if your wife turned around today and just said, okay, I'm going to bend over, just do your thing, and then once you're done, let me know, and I'll do that for the rest of your life. I think after about the third or fourth time, you'd be like, that's not exactly what I wanted. So really, sex is not the deal. It's about that person really prioritizing you, showing you a level of respect, being able to have the desire to grow old with you and share the same ambition, same dreams, and same, those are the important things, because within a few years, when you're old, you're going to need more than sex to keep hold of the relationship, especially when the kids, you're empty nesters and the kids have gone, they're now living their own lives. You regain so much time, and if you do not have that sort of North Star, then it becomes incredibly important to function within a relationship, because sex becomes the least of your worries. So becomes really important that if you start off the relationship with the North Star being, I want us to be putting each other on priority. Like, I want you to be my priority and you be my priority. And you're going to do that by showing respect of my time, respect of my space, my boundaries, and then also respecting the fact that I need that intimate connection. And this becomes a very important part about the relationship, because when she can respond to that, then you know that you've got somebody who is there and is going to be right to die with you. When she's resistant to that, then it becomes a different ballgame. And as a measure for most guys, I say to them, just float the idea with a wife. I want the relationship that we had when we started dating. She'll give you one of two responses. If she says, yes, I would desire that, then you know that you've got somebody who's got at least a spark and who's at least willing to move towards that, which is prioritizing each other, showing each other respect, and being able to move things forward in a way that is going to be mutually beneficial for the relationship. If she responds with a dismissive and don't be ridiculous, that's all gone and so on, then you've got a greater uphill battle. And sometimes it's probably the biggest red flag that you're probably not going to convince her. In fact, any movement after this point, it's you trying to convince her to be within that frame of mind. And convincing her is not an option. And this is some of the traps that most people fall into, because if you're not North Star and sex is the goal, you get into these manipulative tactics, you become like convincing, you become very desperate in terms of trying to get things moving forward and so on. And this is very important. And again, if you now notice a lot of the coaching, a lot of the teachings online, they are all these transactional things which can be manipulative and are focused on the transaction of sex, as opposed to building a level of respect, so that the byproduct of that becomes the sexual side of things. And this is really important. Like, this has transformed my relationship massively. That I have got no doubt that my wife prioritizes our relationship. And we joke around, and sometimes my daughter goes, "Are you my best friend?" to my wife. And my wife goes, "No, your dad is my best friend." And she'll come to me and say, "Are you my best friend?" I'm like, "No, mommy is my best friend." And it's a joke, but sometimes it is reality, and it's how she sees the relationship. And one of the times she elaborated and said, "Look, one day you're going to go and live your life with somebody and leave us and live your own life. And when you do, it'll be just me and daddy. And it's important that our relationship is good." And I thought that was a powerful lesson to teach. And anyways, moving forward, it becomes really important to prioritize each other. And this is what we're seeking. This is what we want. Uh, the it's the equivalent of what's happening sometimes with especially this industry when it comes to changing sexless marriages. They they treat the symptom instead of the problem, and generally it just causes, or it just sort of a temporary band-aid that is put on, because generally when you start having sex and it's all coerced, it's all manipulation, it's all transactional, it, if you haven't established the respect, and you haven't established the that sort of goal focused relationship for both of you, that like, this is a goal for both of us, this is where we're going, this is where we're heading, and we're prioritizing each other, and it's also formed off of a base of respect, it becomes very difficult to you know to maintain that sort of manipulation and coercion and all of that stuff. It becomes a second job of its own just to keep it going. And this is why a lot of people fall under this trap. And then they go through phases of feast and famine in terms of Yes, sometimes you're having sex, sometimes you're not. And then maybe she is interested, maybe she's completely off you. And after a few cycles of feast and famine, she's probably just going to go, I've had enough, because it's just such a roller coaster ride. And uh, again, to her, it signals a lack of leadership. So if you think about it, that if you were a captain, maintain the boat analogy, and I'm going to land my plane here, is that if you chartered this boat and then you ended up at the wrong port 3 or 4 times, okay, even if you're close to the destination, your crew will not be very confident in your decision making. And eventually they'll be like, you know what, I don't want to be boarding in this captain's ship because we always end up at the wrong place. And this is why it's really important. And when it comes to measuring your metrics should be, is the level of respect going up? Is she prioritizing the relationship? And if the answer is no, then you are going the wrong direction. And sex is not the measure that you should be measuring. So I'm going to stop, knock it on the head here. There is a book that we've released. It's called The Attraction Code. It will walk you through how to then gain that respect. And again, this is a free book at the moment. So if you are interested in getting this book, we are go to Instagram, uh, thriving underscore tribesman, and send me a DM and say book, or DM me book, the word book, and I will send you the link to get the book. For now, it's free, and it walks you through how to regain respect, how to reclaim that dominance within your relationship, that she actually is more sexually attracted towards you. And this is one of the books that actually cuts through the bullshit in terms of what you see online. All of this, do more around the house, it's got none of that stuff. Five love languages, and all of these. What's the other one? Attachment theory and all that stuff. It's got nothing to do with all of that. It's just real practical advice that you need to do, and it just, within a few days, I can guarantee you start seeing a response from her. And again, when I say response, just to warn you, it doesn't mean that she's now falling over, and she's probably going to be giving you a response. Within our community, a negative response is the best response, because it now gives you an opportunity to actually gain attraction, as opposed to what you read on the other book, everything else. Like, uh, just one thing. If you push for a positive response consistently, you're more likely to be blind and give up your, give up, give up, um, give up your potency of the conversation, as opposed to if you are true to yourself, confident, and it, it, again, not approving, without approval seeking behavior, it becomes quite forced. So she might feel a sense of a negative towards it. But if you hold your frame, it's a signal that you are now in charge, which then returns into an attraction. Very important. Like, and we've done this so many times. Like, I would sell my house and bet that every time any guy has refused to do it and then they do it, there's a complete positive response. And they're like, I cannot, it boggles my mind how, anyways, going to get the book. I guarantee you this will change your entire life. So thank you very much, guys. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.